Namaste, Galactic Family. Welcome back to my channel, Indigo Angel. If you're new, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you for your continued love and support of my channel. Don't forget to hit the notifications bell to continue to receive my messages. Today I have a Starseed Origin reading for the month of October. This is for the Hydra Origin. The Hydra Origin is the true pagan life force. This is the true Cobra bloodline. Those who would carry this origin would have any type of planetary markers between 1640 to 30 degrees Cancer. This is according to lunar nakshatra, and these are considered the lunar mansions. And this is how I typically gauge the origin when there's not a direct solar culmination match. I will then go to the lunar alignment, as I feel that the moon has much more to do with importing and exporting of spirit than the sun does, because the lunar influence is essentially in a synergistic relationship with the lunar endocrine sensory cell, the pineal gland, right? And the pineal gland basically regulates all of the subconscious cycles, one of those cycles being the reproductive cycle, so reincarnation cycles and birthing cycles and fertility. So essentially this is why I look for the lunar alignment, and I find that many people resonate more with that lunar alignment over that solar culmination match. So this is why I use this system. I just felt like I needed to briefly explain that. But yeah, so this is a Hydra reading for the month of October. So anybody who's trying to understand Starseed Origins, this is the celestial influence in accordance to the particular star, the particular constellation within your chart. So this is taking a deeper look into your radial light source of origin. As when you look into Western astrology and you look into the 12 astrological houses, those 12 astrological signs pretty much ride on that ecliptic plane. They are very large segments, and within those segments they break down into more complex actual star units of consciousness. Okay, so that's what Starseed Origins is about, is really looking deep within the particular constellation and seeing which star particularly is your origin. So this is really fine-tuning and pinpointing and coming up with a more detailed mythology of your inner workings. And each one of those star origins represent a much deeper aspect of your subconscious level, of your preconscious level, of all 7 spheres of the mind, but even deeper within that, as they represent your soul expression on the planet and what you came to do here as a radial light source origin in a human form, what you came to do here, what your mission is on this planet. This can be perceived in many different ways, how one attunes and embodies and overall relates to the light source. Some origins are perceived as ultra-dimensionals. So many of you may connect through interdimensional beings, where you actually can see, and I don't want to say channel, because I want to make it clear that any of you who perceive energy as channeling, this is really truly called Kailanta transmissions, which is where you are electronically data streaming through that radial light source images or imprints or thought forms, crystal thought forms of that light source. So it's not so much that we channel, because what we do channel the energy, but really we just receive instantaneous transmission is what we're actually doing. This is instantaneous transmission. So many of you may attune to the actual beings or the planetary system or the Stargate system. This is one way that you start to attune to that light source, is through an extra dimensional experience, through an astral projection, through a lucid dream, through some type of presentation of a being that would represent that origin. Some of us perceive it through the expression of our grail line. And this is where you're reverse bioengineering consciousness and you're going deep, deep, deep within the actual DNA, deep, deep within the genetics. And this is another way that we can attune to the roots of that mythology of the existence of the expression of that radial light source. Or this is how I essentially do it. One may just dial right into the star's consciousness itself. So beginning to work with the particular star's consciousness through meditation, through intention. I mean, everybody's like, how do you do this? And it's, there's really not much to it other than turning towards that emotion inside of you that actually connects to the star system. That's going to dial you right into that energetic connection and tune you right into the star. This is how I mostly receive transmissions, is I just connect right into the crystal core of that star system. I do feel that this is the most direct connection, is when you just download directly from the star system, because the star systems themselves are gigantic burning balls of life source energy, and they are consciousness that is living consciousness. So one may want to attune more to their celestial origin, and that's one way to do it. However one shifts into the awareness of starseed consciousness, this is all a part of the process of getting to the most innermost core of their being, right? It's kind of like deciphering through all of the shades of gray and misunderstandings of being misled down wormholes and false matrix systems and fallen systems and untrue systems, or whatever, however you perceive it, and just dialing right into the source, right? That's what Starseed Origins are. You're dialing right into the source. So this can assist with many things, such as deeper healing, clarity, overall understanding of your mythology and your mission on this planet. So today I do have a reading for the Hydra Origin for the month of October. We have a full moon on the 13th, and we have a new moon on the 27th of October. So get ready, guys, because we are actually in for a galactic activation portal roller coaster. October 26th through November 4th. That's 10 straight days of galactic activation portal days. I've honestly have not seen this in the calendar. I looked at the calendar last year, and there hasn't been a consecutive 10 days of portal activation in the Mayan calendar. So planetary shifts are up ahead. This is going to mean a lot is going to be transition. Either manifestations and materializations are going to go into rapid acceleration, or they're going to completely dematerialize and reconstruct that entire week. So October 26th through November 4th, just expect that that's going to be a very interesting time for us all. But okay, so Hydra Starseeds, the Entwiner, the Water Snake. If you're a Hydarian, your origin star is Alphard, and that's the heart of the serpent. And I'm starting with Hydra for October reads because this celestial influence planetarily is on her way out. So she's basically been activated since about 12 weeks prior. We're at the tail end of Hydra, so she's on her way out of her activation. She's on her way out of being in the spotlight, so to speak. And I believe that the North Node currently, because I just checked planetary positions last night, is under the influence of Hydra as we speak. So this means, as a Hydra Starseed, that you may feel, because of that planetary alignment as a Hydra origin, you may feel an overwhelming vibe or a needing to tie up loose ends right now. You may be preparing for a closing chapter. You may be feeling overall that you need to move on from something, whether that's a relationship, a friendship, a job, a project. You have a lot of things that are kind of closing out to end that chapter, and you're gonna probably intuitively, you have been preparing for this. Intuitively, psychically, you've been receiving transmissions from your higher self that has been preparing you for this closing of this chapter. Every day, you've kind of been reminding yourself of what you need to do to ensure your safety, your survival, or just your overall emotional and mental health. So you have been actually strategically placing things in front of you to make plans for those movements. So never worry or fear change or closing or ending of something, because it's all a part of that life cycle of death and rebirth. And your higher self is always weeks and months advanced ahead of you, actually 9 years ahead of you, so to speak. So don't worry, your parallel aspect of you has been preparing you for changes. And yeah, so you're just being called to go inward right now. You're being called to work on plans, goals, your destiny. And you may be feeling a little isolated right now, but it's only because your inner guidance is pushing you towards this period of introspection. And you may have already accepted this weeks prior, but you're just dealing with the idea now of making the moves to pull away. And your higher self, like I said, has been helping you make peace with these outcomes. So overall, that's kind of where you're at, Hydra. And I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards for you to essentially see where your ascension is. I hope you all like my pink background and my kyanite crystal. The kyanite I actually got from a crystal show that comes to Denver every September. And I love kyanite in the sense that I feel it actually has very much a Hydra vibe to it. Hydra is, it's a very strong, it's a very beautiful origin, but it's also very delicate. Just kind of like the kyanite. The kyanite is a very delicate, it's also a very flaky crystal. If you've ever held kyanite, it flakes a lot. So you have to be very delicate with how you hold it. You have to be very, I wouldn't play with this crystal a lot. This isn't a crystal that you sleep with in your bed or hold or take a bath with. You know, it's kind of one that you just pull out for when you're being, you know, in a gentle place, just so you don't ruin the crystal. Okay guys, so this is the energy for the Hydra Starseed. Okay, so as far as the Hydra Starseed Ascension, we have the Star and we have the Ten of Pentacles. So essentially, you are in a state of ascension, you are in a state of expansion, you are very dialed in and connected to your Kundalini. You are very much in alignment with the rhythmic spiral, with the rhythmic crystal spiral. The sun means that you are expanding in energy, that you are very connected to angelics. You're very connected to spirit right now. You're very connected to your innate knowing, your innate frequency. You're very much in a space of harmony. You're in a space of alignment. Even though you are transcending timelines at the moment, you are very much in alignment to your soul, to your spirit. So much so that you are in a beautiful space of manifestation. You are very connected to your finances, so wealth, health, and growing as far as your creations, as far as your manifestations, as far as your materializations. There's a lot that's coming to the fruition for you right now. So you're actually about to possibly even reap some rewards. This is something you have been thinking about. And there's been a lot of dedication, there's been a lot of focus, and you're very much in that state of being as we speak. Okay, so we have the Four of Cups and we have the Seven of Wands. It's interesting that this card just presented because through the Four of Cups, I do pick up on Hydra. So it's interesting, it's kind of just confirmation from the divine that this radio light source has received this message today. The Four of Cups, all of the minor arcana in the tarot do align to star systems. They do align to the stars' degree markers. So the Four of Cups would be that 20 degrees to 30 degrees in Cancer, which would be a direct Hydra influence. So this is very much confirmation that this star system is confirming these messages today. This is all about intense transforming on an emotional level. So One might be transcending healing, deep secrets, even curses. So I'm picking up on curses. For some reason, some of you feel that you might have been cursed, and or even like spells. I just want to reassure you that these timelines are melding away through the ripples of time, and they are expanding out into less and less probability. So whatever you feel might have cursed you at some point, whether that be bad karma, whatever that be, just some type of relationship in your life that has placed a hex on you, just know that that is fading away, and it is returning back to the being, the individual, or the event that made those initial statements or hooks or jabs or implants into your energetic system. That's fading away, because there's a lot of emotional empowerment that you're integrating into. You have kind of come into this place of empowerment. You've come into this space of really being able to balance your emotions and take back your empowerment. I'm also picking up on the moon. So there's a lot of connections to the moon right now. You're very dialed into the moon shifts and this unseen world of your psychic abilities and your feminine aspects. So you're very connected to the water, you're very connected to your feminine aspects. I'm also seeing with the Seven of Wands that as this Hydra's planetary influence kind of fades away, you're kind of releasing this burning ambition that you've had. So you've been in a state over the last 12 weeks of really working really hard, almost to the point of being extremely competitive. You've had people that you've seen as your rivalry. You've had this stance of really needing to like guard your territory. You've been kind of in a place of maintaining a sense of power and control, but those disillusions are going to be fading away. And it's going to be transforming into more of a collaborative energy. You're going to start taking action to negotiate. You're going to start taking action to make more swift decisions. And you're going to be very confident in your approach. I am picking up on that there's also a deep connection to some Lyran radial light source. So you are being guided right now by the Lyran High Council. They are basically behind you as an angelic presence, an angelic energy, and they are guiding your ambitions right now. They are guiding your next steps, so to speak. But you are having to release some power, some authority, some control. You are having to release some suffering. You're having to, let go of the ideas of any type of victim mentalities, and you're having to basically release people and events and things that you have built up within your mind as enemies. So you're like really having to like release these painful deceptions that were there. But essentially that can be hard for the Hydra Starseed. The Hydra Starseed can hold on to grudges. They can hold on to things that they have perceived as an injustice to them, and they will kind of hold on to it because the energy penetrates them so deeply. And the Hydra Starseed also feels that there's always somewhat of like an injustice being served to them because of your galactic history, because you have essentially you carry a deep divinity, a deep divinity that you feel like there's been just like this disconnect, this ancestral fragmentation over the history of your eternal existence. You feel that your divinity has been taken and removed, and you hold deep wounds from previous lifetimes, several existences, lifetimes. You hold that entire star's resentment all of the time. So you have to consciously see that in your daily life. You have to consciously work through that feeling of your abandonment, work through your feeling of just the loss that you honestly always kind of feel, and you're having to transform that all of the time. But just know that that is a part of your mission on this planet, is that you are having to transform that individually, which seems like for yourself all the time, but this is really for the collective. So you are doing a lot of beautiful work internally every time that you get through some of those what you feel to be injustices. So this card just kind of popped out, so I'm going to place that there. And we have the Page of Cups. So through the 10 of Wands, Hydra Starseed, it's interesting that just kind of popped out, because the 10 of Wands, well, for one, the 10 of Wands is the galactic center. So it's so interesting that this is coming up, because I just did a Starseed, a celebrity Starseed origin reading for Keanu Reeves. I know some of you seen this on my Facebook page, but Keanu Reeves does have three very profound placements of Hydra in his chart. And he also has the galactic center in his north and south node. So I just did this morning, right before I'm doing this reading. And I do connect the 10 of Wands to the galactic center. As far as the degree positions, the 10 of Wands would be 20 degrees to 30 degrees Sagittarius. So you have this profound Sagittarian influence, this profound Saturn influence that really brings through that energy of the galactic center, which is the full illumination, the full culmination of that Melchizedek lineage, that Melchizedek grill line, which is Yeshua, Jesus Christ, Sananda, Star of David. So it's kind of like the 10 of Wands really represents the entirety of our being on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, on a psychic level. It represents our success, our fulfillment, but it's perceiving everything outside of ourselves. So when you're having this perception, you can feel like you're being taken advantage of. You can feel like, and that's kind of what the Sagittarian energy brings through, is being taken advantage of. I equate the Sagittarian density or dimension or radial light source of that in constellation at about 10th or at about 9th density in the planet. And that would be the earth. That would be the earth that we all walk upon and never really appreciate it. And so especially Sagittarians, those who have a lot of Sagittarian placements, will feel that they are taken advantage of. And they usually are, because there's just like an appreciation for their energy sometimes. People just don't see how much they're really worth. They don't really see their value. So I see that energy kind of presenting through Hydra right now, is there's just this overwhelming like feeling of like, my energy hasn't been acknowledged. I've been working so hard. I feel like people are like riding me, and they just don't appreciate the effort that I've put in right now. So you're very, very much inside yourself, emotionally, spiritually. You're working through these distortions. You're working through where you need to set boundaries right now. There is some boundary setting that needs to be done for the Hydra Starseed. Also, we have the Page of Cups. This would signify new beginnings. So like I said before, Hydra, you're kind of on your way out, but emotionally there are some new beginnings that are presenting. You might be having a new relationship. That's a possibility. It's in the near future. These are all probabilities that are kind of floating around out in your field right now. You haven't actually like engaged with any of these probabilities, but you are in the process of anchoring these into your reality. You are in the process of expanding into these probable realities. So you're kind of curious. There's a lot of curiosity. You're kind of like, what's going to present? Like, what's going on? Like, is it going to be a new love? Is it going to be a new experience? But there are some probabilities that are kind of floating around out in your field right now for you to potentially embrace here in the next few weeks. Okay, these are going to be the last cards that I pull for Hydra Starseed. Okay, so we have the Ten of Cups. And this is a lot of Pisces energy. The Ten of Cups. I'm picking up on Andromeda, but not quite. Not quite Andromeda. It's right before Andromeda. There's also some Venus energy I'm picking up on. That you're tying up some emotional loose ends. You are in the process of transcendence. You're in the process of releasing. You're in the process of surrender. You are in you're having ideas of also wanting to settle down. So I'm just picking up on somebody who might be listening that you are ready to settle down in a relationship, that you've been thinking about planning a family. You've kind of just been knowing that your creations, everything you've been working towards over the last 12 weeks has been so inspiring, but you're also ready to bring in like a more of a family dynamic. You're ready to kind of solidify connections as a family unit as well. You feel ready for that. And I think that's kind of what this tying up of all of your loose ends is that you're ready to embark into more of like a home lifestyle and kind of settle down into a space of comfort. But you are having to, with the Page of Swords, you are a little bit guarded because you are always trying to mentally prepare yourself for like unforeseen events. So you do have your guard up. You do have this shrewdness and this just like a rejecting stance. Like anybody who tries to get like closer to your energy, you are pushing them away. Your masculine and feminine energies are very, very balanced. So you're very, very much in your masculine. And that masculine is what's protecting and guarding you, allowing to let anybody in right now. So I would say that it's really time to reevaluate what you seek in your life. It's time to really sit back and kind of reflect through the emotions, because you have been so heavily through the emotions. Like you've been working through all of your emotional bodies. You really, really have been in that space. You've been very connected to your spirit, but now it's time to kind of go into and embrace some balance with some mental logic. You need to bring in some mental logic and kind of start deciding like, where do I need to set my boundaries, but where can I start to let others in? Where can I start to really get to a space where I can allow myself to connect to others? Because I think that's kind of what, as the winter comes in, as October comes in, you are truly like, your heart is wanting to settle down with more of like a family like environment, whether that's a new relationship or even just reconnecting with your mom, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, your grandmother, friends you haven't talked to in a while. Like you are feeling like that need to bring more of a close-knit unit in. And I think that's kind of what you have been preparing for overall. But you are having to really get into your mental space and use some logic when it comes to defining your boundaries, when it comes to your hesitation as to why you're stopping yourself from having these types of interactions and relationships and foundational interdimensional integrational systems that are going to help you overall stabilize your energy for October. Okay, because we truly are underneath the Arcturian. Like our sun is in Arcturus, Venus is in Arcturus. I think Mercury might be in Arcturus. It might be on its way out, because we're also on our way out of that Arcturian planetarily activation. So there's been a lot of balancing that's been happening for you, Hydra, overall. Okay, guys, if you would like a Starseed Origin reading, you can find me at indigoangel222.com. If you would like to work with me further and go into my bioregenesis, I do have that on Patreon, patreon.com/indigoangel, and I do offer personal sessions for bioregenesis, which is techniques for ascension, very, very powerful visualization techniques that are guaranteed to expand the higher mind, So I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next video. Namaste.